Stonebwoy. Stonebwoy. Hello, Stonebwoy.
Hey, what's up, my G?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. In fact, I'm grateful to be alive, thanking God for everything.
Yeah, which is really, really, really important.
Absolutely.
Now, getting into our conversation, I want to start with your global citizen performance, right? Now, for global citizen, well, after the festival, stories were told that you guys were not, actually paid, but you were well taken care of. What was your motivation to be on such a stage, regardless of the non-payments?
I mean, I really don't want to delve into that because I don't know how that came up, because every artist on that bill may have been dealt with differently. I don't know what goes into contractual agreement to procure one artist, because I was out of Accra anyway. I was in Kenya, Rwanda, going about my business, and then I think I read online an interview with another beautiful artist, and she sort of like, have had to detail what it entailed on her side. So she spoke for her, and I would love to keep mine as concealed as possible, because it's not right for me to just be blabbering about with, because I'm not compelled to in any manner like she was probably. So I'll swipe that under the carpet.
Which is very understandable, because I mean, when you mentioned that every artist was dealt with differently, it just clicked something in my head that it can actually be the case of
Exactly.
What it actually is.
So I mean, I respect her opinion and what she's exposing as what it was for her, but rest assured, everybody's case is different. I do not want to be very unprofessional to start speaking about certain detailed content that's not supposed to be. The most important is it was an amazing show, one of the most prestigious platforms that you can ever have to perform on as a musician, because of what it stands for, global citizen. I think the name is as simple as that. We're all global citizens. We are citizens of the globe, basically. And then the things we have to do to continue to keep the globe in shape, to continue to exist as people, is what we have to do. Taking care of the planet, making sure our activities are in line with what actually, keeps the planet in shape. And then now our women, our girl child, everybody is birthed out of a woman. So you can understand what it means to keep, the girl child safe, and then now
and protected.
And protected. And then now we have to also acknowledge change. If we're doing things right, then we maintain, we don't change. But if we're doing things wrong, then we change as well, to make sure we are developing one another as global citizens. So,
that's very important.
You know what I mean?
Now let's talk about your Global Citizen Festival performance. Listen, your entrance was it was wow. It was good, and it had people talking. Your entrance, your performance, your message delivery. Because I realized in between the performances, you had messages for everybody watching, whether present on ground or watching online, right? What went into that, into you giving such an entrance? Because you were the first performer, and you're the only one who had such an entrance.
I think I know it's because eventually it had happened that I am opening the concert, and for a huge festival like this, tailoring its values, and what it represents for has to also be obeyed as a performer. Because if it was just a festival that was entertainment, let's play music, it would have influenced my choice of lineup, my set list. But because we know what we're up for, my set list was also pinned to be able to serve the purpose. That's how come you saw me play Run Go, Greedy Man. I did Everlasting. So that's like Run Go is for it has message of how to political vibes into making sure that we have a better place to live. Greedy Men tackles the climate situations that we face, the galamseys, the illegal mining, and the poisoning of our river bodies for water and all this, our forest and all of that. And then Everlasting also goes to tackle every woman being a superwoman. And then now I slapped it with a medley that brought the, you know, the fire out there. So for me, I was just on there to do my duty and to actually tailor my performance to the theme of the festival.
The festival.
And an entry as such is just what I could think about. You know, my team
Dope.
and I were thinking about grand entries, and we're like, okay, fine, let's see. Let me just ride in majestically, you know what I mean?
Honestly.
And I came in on a horse, you know, just to, it's natural, it's nature, you know what I mean? So.
How long did it take you to put your set together during rehearsals? I mean, having to decide on even which songs you are going to perform, all of that.
You know that we are a team, and even so, I also play a vital part of my team anyway. So, when we got to understand what job we had to go and deliver, then we all sat down and realized that these were the number of songs to pick to, you know, to suit the duty. So we just rehearsed, and you know, we've been on the road the whole year. So we are like action. We're in progress.
Yeah, in motion.
We are in motion. Thank you. That's the right word. We're always in motion. So it wasn't too difficult to pick what to do, because as well it was like, you know, not too long a performance as well. So it was straight to the point. And I thank God everything we planned came out so beautiful.
It went so
well. It blew our
yeah.
minds. This is one of the performances that I've had to watch over and over and over.
Really?
Because me, I'm a fan of Stonebwoy, you know what I mean?
Which is only right.
Me, myself, I'm a
It's
Gen Z.
only right.
And I'm a fan of Stonebwoy.
Stonebwoy, the Gen Z.
Yeah. Me, myself, I'm a Gen Z and a fan of Stonebwoy. So don't see me as Stonebwoy. No.
Make me not see you like that.
Don't see me like that. That was an amazing performance. And I think it well represented Ghana, you know, and what we can deliver as artists. You know, the conversation has been going on around about how Ghanaian artists owned the show and delivered. So that tells you the caliber of talent we have and what we're willing to give if we have all other aspects working right to ensure that we continue to, you know, represent for our music, culture, and arts as Ghanaians. Yeah.
True. All right, now you recently had a live session with Sean Paul where he said that reggae or dancehall has African origin, and then people came at you, people came at you. There is a lot of truth in it. Sean Paul came to defend you and all of that. Do you think that people need maybe taking the different genres, right? But for you, do you think that it will be necessary for you to hold a reggae or dancehall symposium, which will include everything from music production to the singing and all of that?
That's an amazing idea you just dropped me right now. I think we should hold it.
I'm gonna marry my cash when you actually do it.
We'll find a way to pay you, you know, find a way. But it's a great contribution you just shared. Nonetheless, I think that things of such sort have been happening differently, but I think a symposium would really work, owing to the fact that now is a time that conversations like this are beginning to be more important and very sensitive, you know, to different ears. You see, we have to remember that we as a people are black, and we've had our culture, and there's history to prove that, to prove how we spread across the world. There's history to prove. I love to read the Sheikh Anta Diop's. Look, I love to educate myself. I should
read on that.
You know what I mean? There are books that would actually inform you, especially because I'm a creative. I represent, you know, the music and arts part, and even culture. In an interview, I stated that, you know, reggae music, to a large extent, has its roots connected in Africa, by Africans, for Africans. And therefore,
I like that.
Yeah, the reality that Sean was also reiterating on is that except you see yourself away from being an African, when you are, is when you would only have problems with a very harmless submission that I did, with the aim of actually including everybody and having some form of inclusion which will promote unity. You know, if you typically pick reggae music, the foundation upon which reggae music was built, and its founders, built in Jamaica, you know, have always been directing at unity and pointing to their African roots. So it was just like some form of misunderstanding from people who don't know better how you know, there is a strong ties between Africa and Caribbean, not only at Ghana and Jamaica. So, I mean, I also did an interview yesterday, and I think the competition is getting crazier in the sense that Jamaica is at a point where they feel like everything they've done is not being credited for enough. That's how come it sounded like that to a few people.
So, yeah,
but
makes sense.
Important people and key holders and gatekeepers know this, and they are not even worried at all. They're not even, they're like, yo, that brother of ours is saying the right thing, that
100%.
Because we are all black people. And I'm not taking it away from the fact that reggae and dancehall music was birthed in Jamaica. You know what I mean?
But the
roots of it, definitely, just because we are Africans. I mean, just because they are Africans as well, you know? Yeah, to a large extent, we have Spanish, we have the Indians all mixing up like that. But the music itself and those who created it will attest to the fact that they brought it forth from, you know, all the things that have happened. It could be slave trade, it could be however. It still is in their blood.
Which is part of the African culture.
So those who understand know that it's a beautiful statement of inclusion and unifying us as black people and enjoying our arts and creativity together. And that's how we can grow stronger. But those who don't are sitting on a fence, feeling that they're in isolation. Some of the reasons being that we are the ones who sold them into slavery. You know, and
like
therefore,
there are different sides,
there are different sides and different feelings. But in the end, we are black people, we're one people, and if you're black, then you come from Africa.
True. Now, talking about Africa and, you know, unity and all of that, you've recently been on tour in Nigeria and Kenya in promoting your song, Gidigba.
Bagidi.
What would you say the reception has been, especially, you know, for your brand and for that particular song? Because that's a new song, right? Now, for an old song, you can say that they already know the song, so they warmed up to it already. But for this one, how did they receive you and then receive the song?
I mean, it's a beautiful song. It's a fresh song produced by a Nigerian as well. And I had the opportunity to release a song whilst I was in Nigeria, you know, and it was actually planned. Like, okay, fine. If this is the vibe, then why don't I just, you know, because after we recorded the song, I realized that, there was one thing left. And the only thing is to release the song in Nigeria because it was produced by a Nigerian right at home. We recorded in my house. And then the title is more Nigerian than it is Ghanaian, but I mean not in isolation, because Gidigba means the same thing in Ewe. And when you trace the roots of Ewes, you go all the way into, I don't want to go into all this history, you go into the Benin Empire or your empire, it breaks down, it comes, so it means the same thing. Then I'm like, okay, fine. Why don't I just drop this song in Nigeria to see what happens? Then, I mean, I went there, dropped the song, did some radio tour and TV, but it was mad, and the song is growing. It's not even 3 weeks old. But the reception here in Ghana and Nigeria is dope. Like, I see people dropping covers and doing their own stuff.
Yeah, because I've seen that already. Even with the audio that you've dropped, it has so many views. It has over 400,000 views already.
It's mad.
When are we getting the video, please?
The video is going to come soon. I think in a week or two from now.
Nice.
And you guys expect a bang. From us. You know what I mean? Because that song means a lot to me. That song defines my moment right now. It defines my emotions, my state of mind, where I am currently and where I want to go. So I'm only energizing myself and energizing other people through my eyes, you know, because I know a lot of people are also, you know, in that mind space and can relate to the fact that you have to stand firm. You have to believe in yourself and don't form minimal.
Yeah, 10 toes down.
10 toes down,
very,
bro.
Very important.
Standing firm and strong, you know.
With the short time you spent in Kenya and in Nigeria, which findings or which learnings are you bringing into Ghana, and how do you think that we can replicate some of these things in Ghana?
I think in Rwanda and in Kenya, what I would say is that I don't want to be misinterpreted, you know, like it came to mind. I mean, we were having a discussion and we realized that Ghanaians are more developed than their country is. Whereas other people's countries are somewhat developed more than the persons. Yeah. In, you know, the citizens themselves. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but that's a finding. That's an observation. Okay. Yeah, that's one of the observations I made prior to, you know, my visits, especially in Rwanda and in Kenya. You realize that, okay, yeah, you know, That's one of the major things. I don't know how you guys want to deduce that or diffuse that, but I think Ghanaians are near you know, but it's just that many things have not been able to follow us like it's supposed.
Which will lead me to my next question, right? In relation to music, is there anything that you identified that Nigerians are doing differently that we are not? I mean, you've been there, even though not for long. You saw a few things. Exactly. You saw a few things. So how do you think we can adapt to also help us move further than we are?
I get the question. And the thing is, we need to learn from one another. And I'll take it right back to the roots as Africans. You know, I never want to leave this narrative out because it's important, you know. We all live on a continent as Africans and we can learn from each other. So I don't want it to be like there's one upper hand, that like necessarily an upper hand or whatsoever. We inspire each other. The thing is, I think Nigerians are more formidable when it comes to owning a certain narrative and pushing and promoting it. You know what I mean? And you can only achieve that by being principled and drawing the lines in between, you know, the things that make it fail and the things that make it work. That's how you can all just hold on to the blueprint and forward. So I think here in Ghana as well, there's a need. One thing that bossed my mind was like, you know, there are negative news, there are negative narratives, but in the media, you know, realms, you hardly lately find that narrative of channeling attention onto something very negative that has a controversial factor that can get the news buzzing, and in the end you realize that we made nothing out of it, but only it was one-sided, whereby probably whatever media house or personalities are speaking that get the buzz off it, and it doesn't translate into anything really positive for the general growth of the industry. That's one of the things I've studied.
And for the person as well.
Yes. So I think everything being equal, we should try to actually lay emphasis on pushing more positive narratives, because it does help more than the, you know, it helps better than focusing a lot more on the things that are already controversial and are trivial. And I think that over here we create them intentionally. We create them, we force them to become. And it's not supposed to be, because, you know what I mean? Like, we can only build on positive stuff to bring us the results that we need. So this is like the study that I found. You know, they have their own problems and all of that, but as African countries and sisters and brothers, this is one of the things that I've studied about them that would be nice to continue to emulate, because Ghanaians do as well. You know, you only find out that the platforms that have this narrative of positive culture and pushing it don't really get the amplification that there be. I think the citizens themselves are not, so, you know, it's just a small cross-section that are naturally gravitated to the positives. But I think everybody else wants to have that, you know,
something refreshing.
Refreshing and growth. So we should all make it an effort to continue to push that vibe, because that's the only way we can win.
100%.
As a country.
100%.
You know?
Now, in your Kenyan tour, right? During that tour, you previewed your song with Calligraph Jones. When are we getting that song? And then also, are you looking to feature another East African artist aside Calligraph Jones?
Yes, for sure. You know, there's one Nikita that I heard a song and I'm loving that lady, definitely musically, you know. And Calligraph is an OG, same way. It's like a friend of mine, and Southeast Soul. There are a few friends, Hearts the Band. These are brothers, and you know, who I would love to finish doing some works with. Southeast Soul I've done works with, unreleased. We might have to do new stuff. Calligraph Jones, that record is, I mean, it's basically going to be on his project, but it's for us, definitely. And I didn't even know he was going to preview that part. You guys look, I think that song will do very well.
We await.
Hands down, it will do very well on the continent, but especially in East Africa. You know?
And then it will also introduce both of you into different markets.
The more, because I mean, we've been trooping in and out of each other's spaces, especially with the help of internet and social media now. You can boast of huge fan base across, you know, nations.
Yes, that's
where
true.
you wouldn't have to be there in person. So it's already happening anyway, but it will only continue to build the ties and
to get better.
and strengthen.
It only gets better.
Definitely.
Now, talking about things getting better, you met the CEO of the Grammys, and we didn't really, you know, hear whatever you guys had. we were just privy to, you know,
to
we just saw pictures,
like,
exactly, and then we saw pictures.
But what do you make of that? What do you make of the picture?
I think it's actually good.
If you can deduce the conversation, what would you say? Like, I mean, out of whatever you may have seen.
Maybe you're probably asking him details of how to get Ghanaian musicians into the Grammys, you know, anything related to that. But I mean, coming from you, I just want to know what insight did you get from that interaction? Yeah, nice.
I think he came into Ghana before coming to Rwanda, you know, and he's a very that's a renowned figure to you know, to have, you know. So I think he spoke all the details that there could ever be at the forum when they met in Ghana already. But for me and him, I think he was in a crowd, was in an audience, and I was performing, and I found out that he stood up the whole time, and only, you know, I've seen the pictures and that, but you know, when you're performing, there are lights on you and that. Yeah. But I realized it was that guy that was sharing and was okay, cool. So after the event, he popped and I'm like, yo, he was coming to Ghana. Okay, I'm going to say it. And then when he was coming, he had to actually look out for artists to listen to, you know, because he has to get conversant with every opportunity is all right. You know, so he was listening to my songs and he's like, yo, that's mad. And then to see me in action and hear me perform, like he saw the Global Citizen too, and he was like, whoa. And then now he's seeing me sing live, like his bought, like he's a big fan. He should let me know. He's gonna let me know he's a fan. Like, we need to stay in touch.
Stonebwoy for the Grammys, baby.
What? And then he popped out his phone and be like, yo, put your number on this right now.
Nice.
Like, so I don't know which videos you guys saw. That's why I'm being honest.
Yeah.
So one of those, I had a phone in hand,
pictures.
and I was just punching my D. And I think it's a good contact to have. I don't think it guarantees my winning of a Grammy, to be honest, because that goes through a different. It's just like.
I mean, there's a whole academy, there's a board, scrutiny, all of that.
It shouldn't translate into anything. You know, if I do finally pick up one, that means it's well deserved. It's gone through the structure.
Definitely.
But it's a good contact to keep for, you know, for advice to learn and grow and connect.
Which I agree to. Now, Cyril refers to you as an international artist living in Ghana. So it's Cyril.
Yo, big up yourself, my brother.
That's how he refers to you. So
big respect. If it's the Cyril I know,
it's the same one.
That guy's
too
much. It's too much.
It's the same one.
I want to ask all young rappers to go and collect all his raps and rapo
and
re-rap, because that man is a businessman. He's busy on one side. He's going to get the writer credits and everything.
Cyril is actually with us now, though. He's a presenter here at 3 Music.
Okay. So all the young ones, especially my guys, go to him. Don't let him
locate Cyril.
Locate him, collect his music and sing.
All right, now let's talk about copyright, right? Yeah. This conversation has been up for a few days now, music copyright. What measures have you put in place to protect your music, just to make sure that years after you are active, you are still, you know, earning from the music and nobody is infringing on your... Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you know, music is intellectual property and people who produce it own it, depending on how it goes. And I think I'm a right owner of my stuff from A to Z. And how I get to protect it is that, you know, you work with the right people so they can put things in place, especially with the internet that has come to polarize a lot of things. You know, a song can ring somewhere and nobody can hold it responsible and trace it down. But when you're working with the right teams and you get things locked in, you find out that is where when they play the song for more than 30 seconds, somehow, it gets taken off. These are all things that we have to actually get accustomed, you know, to or with immediately, to understand that it's not the doing of the artist. Because I've seen a few comments come out and be like, if we want to use your songs to promote you, Nankasa, it's not even coming. And you, the artist, you, da. I think this is all, it's okay to get that complaint, but it is not that deep. like we don't want our music to be on certain platforms to be used. It's just the copyright system that doesn't know anybody by face. Once it goes through that system, however it is programmed to be, when a song goes beyond, however, it just makes sure it captures it and blocks it or take it out or you ask permission or whatever. So these are ways that our rights are being protected so that we don't get, it doesn't get abused. You know, our creative materials or intellectual property doesn't get abused. You know what I mean? So once you set it up right, you make sure you get, you know, your revenues off of it.
That's great. So let's come to your signing to Def Jam, right? Now after that, you've released Therapy, you've released Gidigba, and we can tell, you know, there's a change in your sound.
For real.
Yes. Has that signing, have you coming on board Def Jam, has it changed, you know, or impacted your sound in any way? And to what extent, actually, to what extent has that happened?
Yeah, sound-wise, yes. Sound in a sense of quality of sound and quality of production.
Yes.
That has to fit a certain criteria. And now we're paying much more than we used to pay in getting our records fixed, done, so that it can suit standard. You know, it's just like sitting in this studio and I'm feeling the global, the international standard. You can carry the studio from Ghana as it sits. Somebody might even be wondering, and place it in Hollywood.
Yes.
And it will work. You might not.
We take the compliment.
No, I'll be honest, because it's real, you know, and we have to let people understand what we're dealing with. So we have to also take our sound everywhere in the world and have it play to fit. Maybe before we're trying to build ourselves, and for me, I've always invested in my sound anyway. So the sound now sounds, it has to, there's no option.
Yeah.
But if it's in terms of his sound is changing in terms of style, I think that is not the case, because I've had a few talks here and there, but it's been solved. Because when I dropped Therapy was like, woo, that's like, yeah, where is it going? And then I'm like, take time. I know you love it, but don't think I'm running away somewhere, because it's in there. And bang, I bring it back. They're like, yo, yeah, you know. So
we feel you.
I'm only growing, I'm only diversifying and making sure that I'm comfortable enough to live my creativity, because creativity thrives in freedom. So let me be free so I can, don't box me.
Exactly. It's not
accept me as I am so I can mash up the rhythm, you know what I mean? Because I have a lot to offer, basically. You know, you can imagine I moved to the dancehall, to reggae and Afro beats and high life easily. So I have too much to offer, I believe.
Which I agree to, because creativity is not set in stone. It's very fluid, it's very free. So,
So my sound hasn't changed for the worse. It's only changed for the better. You know, just trying to make sure we now produce stuff that can be consumed by
global standards,
and even everybody from across, you know, walks of life, and continue to promote Ghana anyway. So.
Yeah, very, very important. And I mean, you've been flying the Ghana flag so high,
100%.
Which we are really grateful for. And so
Definitely.
yes, now you go out there, be bigger and better than you already are. I really enjoy the conversation. Thanks for sitting with me, and thanks for doing this with me.
Make sure you guys, you know, stay in touch. Follow me at our Stonebwoy on all platforms, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, and especially make sure you connect, you know what I mean? Yeah, all my Gen Zs. Gen Zs just had an addition, so we have Stonebwoy, the Gen Z.
Yes, it's true. Peace out, guys.
Yourself, one love. Keep it locked. This is the culture.
This is the culture. Beam.
Up.
Thanks, Stone.
Respect.